Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 3rd, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. A couple things going on right now. We've got the storm system moving into California that's going to spread some moisture northward as we go into early next week, potentially bringing a little bit of snow for the Oregon and Washington Cascades. In the meantime, we have this snowfall occurring across some of Montana and Idaho. Could be heavy at times and piling up, maybe a half foot or a foot for some areas, potentially clipping portions of northeast Washington, also in some of the Rockies of British Columbia. And then we turn our eyes to a system that might be driving down out of the northwest here. The GFS with a little better track versus the European. We'll take a look at that. And the weather model runs as we go through this morning. Then you can see our decaying low. It's going to merge down to the south and help out that storm over California. Hopefully bring some meaningful moisture in the form of snow across the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, the atmospheric river, and those warm conditions. We're not kind to the snowpack here across the Pacific Northwest. In the meantime, you can see some of that snow flying across northern Idaho and western Montana and some of southern Idaho as well as we speak. And this is the snowfall amounts between 4 a.m. Sunday and 4 a.m. Monday with that moisture moving back up out of the south. Look at that Crater Lake 4 to 6. So hopefully we can get some meaningful snowfall out of that. This is the initial snowfall here. And you can see a few inches coming up across some of the higher terrain of eastern Washington. So we definitely will take it. Not expecting much for Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie Pass. Maybe a little bit of light snow, but not much accumulation is expected. This is the snow returning Friday night through Sunday. So this is ongoing right now as we saw. This graphic is from yesterday, but you can see that this is some pretty good snowfall amounts across higher terrain. And if you're going back and forth across the I-90 Lookout Pass or through Missoula and Helena, some of the higher pass areas across western Montana and Idaho, you are going to run into some snowfall out there. And this map wraps up here Sunday, February 4th, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Dense fog advisory for some portions of Pendleton, Oregon National Weather Service is actually wrapping up here. It's about 9:30 as I'm doing this video here, and you can see it should be wrapping up. But we do have some fog here even for portions of western Washington right now as well. So you guys know what to do. Slow down. Use your low beams. Taking a look at the European last night's run. So let's go ahead and put this into motion. You can see that snow flying across northeast Washington, off to Idaho and Montana. Then we get that California storm. Kind of its leftover moisture gets spread northward, and hopefully it can bring a few inches across the Washington, Oregon Cascades. And then we turn our eyes to the next system, which we're going to look at starting here with the GFS. So this is the 12Z run. This is hot off the presses. Our storm system drops to the south. There comes a California storm bringing some moisture back northward. And then we watch to the northwest, and that's not a bad track there. Could make some meaningful mountain snow if the GFS is correct versus the European model. Now let's take a look at them side by side. You see the European on the left versus the GFS on the right. You got British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. There's our decaying low, the snowfall ongoing across Idaho and Montana currently, spread up across British Columbia. Then we get the California storm, spreading some of that moisture northbound, and then we turn our eyes to the north and west. And you can see the European wants to target Oregon and California versus Washington and British Columbia a bit more. However, the GFS is more favorable track for snowfall, as you can see there. So you still got some model discrepancy to work out here, and that system will be rolling in probably at some point on Tuesday if the GFS is right, a little bit later if the European is right. If we look at the national blended models, total snow in inches, you'll see that we do pile up a little bit with that initial snowfall. Then you'll see the California storm move northbound here as we go on into tomorrow, into Monday, a few inches. Not a big snowmaker. We're used to much bigger storms here across the Cascades of Washington and Oregon, but not bad amounts across some portions of the Oregon Cascades. We definitely will take it. And you can see not too great here across British Columbia, which was really hard hit by that atmospheric river. Very warm temperatures really decimated quite a bit of the snowpack, and I'm not seeing great signs through the next 10-day period. However, the Rockies of BC and some of Montana and Idaho should be doing a little bit better here. And of course, big snows coming for the Sierra Nevada with this upcoming storm. Looking at Seattle, 58 and 54 for the first 2 days of the month, above average so far. And if you look back at that amazing winter of 1950, kind of dominated January's weather, and it went into early February as well. Look at that 1 degree on February 1st, 1950, and 8 and 8 on the 2nd and 3rd. And you can see these record highs are getting pretty interesting here as well. You can get some nice warm days even towards the end of February if you're really lucky. It's not very common, but it happens once in a while. Taking a look at the snow tell, again, Washington is not doing good right now as far as the snowpack is, the snow water equivalent. The Olympics are really suffering. Some of the North Cascades as well, about half of what is normal. Oregon, most part is below average here, but not quite as bad as Washington, and Idaho something similar as Washington as well. Some areas below 60%. And British Columbia, you can see over the last week, again, in centimeters, you can see the decline of that snowpack as we went through the 26th, 27th, 28th, all the way towards February 1st, where we went below 60 centimeters as far as the snowpack is concerned. So we really lost almost half of the snowpack for some areas across British Columbia, and you can see where that Arrowsmith Mountain is here. And if we look off a little bit further to the north and east, snow depth in centimeters, you can really see that it was hard hit just to the west of Whistler as well, chopping off a good percentage of the snow water equivalent. And that's just, again, off to the west of Whistler shown there. Looking at the British Columbia snow report, actually dropped down to 32% of normal there. So, we'll keep crossing our fingers and trying to see that we're going to get some cooler air in here. And there is a sign in the extended forecast I'm going to show you here towards the end of the video. And actually, we'll just start doing that now because this is last night's European run. You can see our decaying low here, some snow spreads back up there, and then the California storm hopefully brings a few inches across the Oregon-Washington Cascades. And then that northeast system, it was showing a little bit better last night than what it showed actually yesterday afternoon versus last night. So that swings through. Then another system down in California. And then we kind of get this decaying frontal system off through the extended, another weak system there. I mean, maybe a moderate system, we'll call it. But you can see there is an Arctic high way off in the extended forecast. This is over 10 days out, so it's really just purely fantasy at this point, just entertainment. But you can kind of see some Arctic air trying to move down, largely staying east of the Rockies, pretty typical there. But some of that could leak out. But, we have plenty of time to watch that. We'll break it down. It could very well go away by the next run. We'll see how that trends. And we'll take a look here at the 850 millibar streamlines and temperature anomaly. You can see some of that cold air across Alaska. And you see that storm over California here. So what we're looking at here is we're going to go off into the extended and kind of see what it's showing here. And you see, we got to go so far out here. This is just, it's almost not even worth looking at just yet. But you can see there is some Arctic air well off into the extended forecast. This is all the way towards mid-February here. And some of that tries to leak out in the Pacific Northwest a little bit. That would be pretty much a dry intrusion as we don't see any kind of Arctic air getting over the west coast of BC and out over the water here at this time. So we'll just watch that and see how that trends off in the extended. Just a little bit of a sign of some Arctic air moving down into Canada. If in case you missed this yesterday, the drought monitor, Washington largely drought free right now. Just the Cascades of Oregon with some moderate drought as well. Idaho and Montana. Not doing too bad, especially compared to when we had some extreme and exceptional drought through the last year. Monthly temperature outlook, if you missed this one also, this is issued January 31st. This goes for the month of February, but if you drop down some of that Arctic air that was showing in the extended European, then you can really do a dent in this the temperatures there across some of the Great Plains and maybe even Montana as well. We'll see how that trends. But looking at monthly precipitation, kind of pegged to be below normal here for the month of February across Pacific Northwest as well, and kind of the bullseye across California. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, click on that link down below. 10% off lightning detection system. You can't beat it. Very fun to watch when we get active weather here. Ultrasonic anemometer, and stores all the data for you in the cloud. But yeah, so hopefully that system coming out of the northwest trends a little better here in the next day or so. So we can start to build up a little mountain snowpack. Maybe it'll come in a little bit further north so we can get a little bit of a moisture draw with it and include British Columbia with some of that snowfall. Or maybe we'll get some overperformance with this storm system moving into California, spreading some of that moisture across the Cascades. But no promises. It's not looking that great as we look off into the extended as far as snow production is concerned. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. I'm going to do another live stream tonight for California. A pretty rare storm is coming in down there, and we want to cover that and make sure everybody is on the up and up. So hopefully I can see some of you guys in there. I'd like to add a couple moderators. We had over 1,100 people in the chat at one time yesterday, and things were getting kind of crazy. There's always a couple trolls that come in there, a couple bots that start spamming the chat as well. So be glad to see some of my regulars in there if you can make it. Probably should be about 7 p.m. tonight. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.